YouTube, what's poppin'? Today we have part 2 of the top APCs, the best APCs in the game. In this video, I'm talking about crafting 5 APCs in your base. Because in the last video, I showed a bunch of APCs using the same or very similar heroes. You can't use all of those, obviously. You can't split the heroes, unfortunately. So, like I said in the last video, if you didn't watch it, it should pop up here and then in the description. In my opinion, and I think in the opinion of quite a lot of players currently, the best APC, literally the best or the second best in pretty much everyone's opinion, is this APC right here. So you basically just want to craft the single best APC you possibly can and then build around that. So either you can attack the weaknesses of this if you're like a defender base, like you basically just sit yourself there, in Eden in like a choke point, and you just get attacked all day, every day. Or you build a bunch of them, like a bunch of really strong offensive APCs. So this is the best APC basically around. The other exception, what some people consider the best, is going to be this instead. We'll find out why I don't really prefer this. It's because it breaks up 3 incredibly strong APCs. And arguably, it's not any stronger than the APC I previously showed. So, what I like to do is, again, just Super Killer, Hunk, Thunder. Now, obviously, if you don't have like Thunder built or Hunk or something, a lot of people honestly don't have Hunk because he was very bad for a very long time. So if you don't have somebody like Hunk, then you can do this, and you basically have to make do with what you got. But let's assume you have all of the heroes in the game, or at least all of the good heroes. So that APC is basically the top APC. Again, sometimes you want to attack the weaknesses. Sometimes you don't particularly care. So in this instance, we don't really care about the weaknesses. This particular APC right here will pretty much always lose to the first APC shown. However, this APC does really, really strong against the majority of APCs. It'll do really strong against 2 of the next top APCs that I'm going to be showing. So while it does lose to this APC, it does very, very well against basically every other APC. So I really like to run this. You're getting Flash. She's incredibly strong. You're getting Raven, who's incredibly strong. And Azure plus Flash works very, very well. I wish Azure was a little bit more kind of usable in a lot of other APCs, but right now she's sort of hand in hand with Flash, just based on how her skills actually work. So now that we have that, this APC, like I said, it beats a crap ton of other APCs. But it loses to the Super Killer one basically every single time. However, this APC here can actually beat the Super Killer, the top APC that I showed. So this is the classic APC that was absolutely ripping everybody apart 2 seasons ago. It was still at the very, very top 1 season ago, and it is still top 3, if not top 2. Some people would say top 1 this current season. So still incredibly strong. Annie is just an amazing tank. She takes absolutely 0 damage. Ifan is a great, really, really good support. Probably the best support, just period. And then Mech Pilot, great carry. She is also an insane support. She takes like no damage. She buffs herself. She debuffs the enemy. She's just incredibly strong, just as a solo unit. But coupled with the others, it's a really, really strong APC. Now, this Raven Flash combo here can beat this Mech Pilot, this Annie Mech Pilot combination. It basically counters in both ways, so it's pretty good. And like I said, but this combination can beat the first. So it's sort of a rock paper scissors between the top 3. However, they're just insanely good. These top 3 beat pretty much every other APC in the game. Now, obviously, you can switch. So like I showed previously. This is why I don't particularly like the APC that I'm going to show you here. Ignore troops. This APC breaks up these 2 right here. You can, retrofit this, so you can put like Mech Pilot here, and it's not going to be terrible, but it's definitely just a step down from what was previously had. Then you can do something like this, Kung Fu, and Thunder, so you can run this. However, in my opinion, this is basically just a downgrade from the previous one that I showed. This does work sometimes because of the fact that people aren't necessarily expecting these. So these do beat some of the other APCs that it'll lose against, or that the other ones, the other iterations would lose against. But so yeah, I mean, you can run this, play around with it if you want. If you're definitely weaker and you just need to win by countering or by like sort of surprising the enemy, a lot of people aren't really going to know how to counter these. So that is definitely a reason to run this. However, this video was designed around just building your top 5 APCs, setting it in stone, leaving it. You don't really have to think about it. You don't have to do too much, because a lot of times the hero and the combat stuff can be a little overwhelming for people. Wait, what am I doing? See, sometimes it can be confusing. All right, so I'm just setting it back to the original 3 that I had shown previously. Okay, and now when we come to the 4th APC and the 5th APC, unfortunately, these take a big step down. So basically, last season, this is sort of what everything looked like. Super Killer pretty much replaced Raven. Raven took a step down when Super Killer came out. Before, you could use Beast instead of Fallen Raven. So just assume pretty much that's all that's happened. The tank has gotten slightly better in both APCs, and that's it. Nothing else has really changed. So pretty much that just means we have to run the same APCs that we've been running for the 3rd and 4th APC. And that's Tuner, Cyclone, Nightingale. Now, I mentioned previously you can use Jackie if you have her new skin. Jackie with the new skin is equivalent to Tuner. She beats certain APCs. Tuner beats certain APCs. So you can kind of just play around with it and see what you feel is best. If you have like a really good, if you got really lucky in your Hopeness lab on Tuner, then you could use Tuner or whatever. It doesn't particularly matter. So this is kind of the top 4. This has been the baseline for the top 4 since last season and even prior. You used to just use Beast, Hunk, Thunderbolt, basically. So this is the top 4 APCs pretty much in the game. Not necessarily in this order, but it is how it is. Now the 5th APC, in kind of keeping up with the current theme that I have, is going to be a Beast, Hammer, and Kung Fu. So Angel has kind of been pushed down because Beast has been pushed down, so now Beast pushes Angel down. So Angel is kind of out of the situation right now. However, Angel is just an absolutely insane tank. Like, she literally does not take damage. So if all it's going to be is a defense garrison, you don't really care about hurting the enemy at all, you're never going to send this out into combat, you can just put Angel right here, and she'll basically sap up the kills. In my opinion, Beast is superior, so this is generally what I'll be running for the 5th APC. Now you can run like Daryl and Maggie. I do not have Maggie on this base, but you can run Daryl and Maggie, something like this, or Angel. And it's kind of a niche pick, but I don't love it, and most people don't have those two heroes maxed. So instead, I just run Hammer and Kung Fu. So these are basically my 5. Here, I'll just put the troops because then people get OCD about that. These are pretty much the top 5. You have arguably the best APC in the game, an incredibly strong APC with Raven and Flash, an insanely strong APC with Annie and MacPilot, a really good APC, especially if you're incredibly strong. Now, I did mention this previously in the previous video, but if you're very, very strong, this APC is disgusting. Like, you will absolutely obliterate your opponent's base very, very quickly if you're much stronger. You'll literally kill 100% of the troops by round 1 or 2. So it's like insane. And then the defense queue, just very, very strong. This still gets kills, or excuse me, not necessarily the defense queue, just kind of the 5th best. Again, if it's just defense queue, you can put an Angel in here. So this is sort of what I generally do. Again, there are some other top 5 or like whatever 5 setup APCs that you can be running. So this is one of them. You get the 3 troop type bonus with super killer. You get flash, very, very good. A lot of kills, not as durable as the super killer hunk thunderbolt. The super killer hunk thunderbolt does really, really well at killing like 20 different battles because you're going to stay alive a lot longer. They're all fighters. They're very durable. Hunk can confuse, so the enemy doesn't really hurt you as much. Whereas this one, these 2 people are much weaker. Based on the fact that they're not fighters, one, but also just because like shooters, for example, end up taking a lot of damage against fighters, and fighters are just really, 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 really strong right now. So it kind of hurts Flash a little bit. It basically just means like she can't kill. You know, sometimes you have a huge garrison of tiles, of defenses on tiles, and you need to kill like 20 APCs. This one might not go as far or as deep into the APCs, but it's still very, 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 very strong. And you can use this to counter certain APCs as well. If you're running something like this, you can then use Mayor, former Mayor, and Thunderbolt in here. This will be the full fighter combination that you're going to be using instead. Or if you don't have Mayor, some people don't like Mayor. Some people just prefer to just use straight up the hunk. And this APC was, you know, top 2, top 3 APCs last season. So you can basically just use this as well. Nothing else will change. Everything else is basically the same. You're sort of just replacing these 2 units here depending on what you need. So Super Killer in general is always going to be killing Raven, basically, just straight up. So it doesn't really matter that Flash is going to be losing against Thunderbolt. What this does provide is a better chance against the Tuner Nightingale combo because you have Flash here who will be doing more damage, and it does a decent job against the Mech Pilot APC as well. So you can kind of, you know, play with it as you will, depending on what your opponent does, depending on what you need, depending on your stats, your situation. If you don't have like, you know, 2 super strong fighter mech weapons, but you have a really, really strong shooter one and a really strong fighter one, you know, maybe you want to do this instead. So just kind of play around with it. Your mech weapons are going to be incredibly important. Check out the mech video that I had that I recently posted. It talks about how to pick the best mech weapons for every APC. Use that as you will with your APCs, and you'll have an amazingly strong base. Now, just keep in mind, just because your APC is better than someone else, if they have 1,000 might and 100 more damage, you're still going to lose. So don't look at battle reports where it's like, oh my god, this guy just absolutely destroyed someone and they're using super killer diver like glow blade, or I don't even know, you know, some crazy stuff like this, or like they're doing this and just absolutely wrecking everybody. It's like, okay, look at the stats. So just keep that in mind. I see that happen basically every season. But there you have it, guys. Those are kind of the 2 best ways of setting up 5 of the strongest APCs. If you really, really like the IFA Flash, if you really, really like this, that's all right. You're basically just going to get a slightly worse version for your mech pilot. You can run Kung Fu here, like this, and it's still going to be 5 really, really strong APCs. So if you really like this version, go ahead. It just gimps the mech pilot one ever so slightly. You can also run Azure here as well. So that's going to do it, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed the part 2. Let me know if you have some other 5 really, really, really strong APCs. It's easy to get just one APC that's really, really strong, but putting up 5 is a little bit tougher. So hopefully it helps you guys out. Hopefully I see some nice APCs out there in war. All right, catch you guys in the next one. A lot more to come. We'll be talking about flexibilities, the best flexibilities for every single hero. I'll also be talking about just straight up the best heroes. Like if you had to just pick the heroes, we'll be ranking those heroes, S tier, A tier, F tier. And then I'll be talking about the best commodities, or at least the most valuable commodities, meaning war badges or USB or mech data or super tickets or iron plates. So I'll be covering all of that very, very soon. So stay tuned. Got a lot of videos coming. All right, take it easy. Peace.